Okay, well, here we go. If the camera will stop flipping. Covering episodes 3 and 4 of Survivor Extinction Island. I am here on our what has become bi-weekly uh,
I know.
vlog with Jody. Last time was my fault. I was not ready last Sunday. Um, Jody,
Hey,
thoughts?
I'm still sick, so if I start coughing, just don't mind me. But the past two episodes were interesting, to say the least. Yeah, we'll just start there.
I'm glad someone found them interesting. I will start with episode 3. This season is dragging to me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I need something to happen because it's looking like not good. First off, episode 3, we finally get the big reveal. Keith gets to decide on whether he's going left or right, edge of extinction or home, and it was such a cliffhanger after episode 2.
Such a
Oh wait,
cliffhanger.
he went to the boat to go to edge of extinction because no one would just leave.
Mm-mm.
Any thoughts on him getting there with Reem, the big cliffhanger
Well,
from episode 2?
it's kind of obvious that him and Reem are kind of tight just because he still views her as a motherly figure and he honestly needs her out in Extinction Island or wait, Edge of
Yeah,
Extinction Island.
I don't know what
So,
it's called, so it'll be me that's
yeah,
messing Jody up, everybody.
we don't know. But so it's a good thing that she's out there to kind of support him because obviously he couldn't support himself if he was just the first one out there. But then they find the rice. They trek a long way up the mountain to get this rice. And was it clear that they have to do that every day?
No, it's if you want it. It's how much are you willing to do for a small amount of food?
I mean, I would do it every
Because
day.
that's the only
What else
thing
are
I
you
was
gonna do?
curious. Well, the only thing I was curious about is it's clear that one, none of them are either building a shelter or care to,
Right.
but it appears that how do I want to put this? It appears that they're in less than favorable living conditions, like they're just
Mhm.
getting rained on and they don't have a true shelter. And they said it was a small portion of rice. So I'm wondering, like, Survivor tells you before you go on, like, there are certain rations you should have
Mhm.
every day of rice that you need. And so I'm wondering if it's like, well, is it half a ration? So is it like one ration for multiple people? You know what I mean? Like if me
Yeah.
and you are both out there, are we getting a single ration for a single person? So we have to split it, and now we're getting half a ration of rice, or is it, or are they just being a little dramatic? I know it can't be that much because they want someone to give up $1 million after being voted out.
Yeah.
But it just seems a little miserable out there, and I don't really know what Survivor's going for with this right now, but I think we're going to find out soon.
Well, I thought it was interesting that when we'll kind of get there, but someone mentioned that it was tough building a shelter whenever they kind of split off into three tribes. They said it was really tough building a shelter with just what, how many people? Four,
5.
five people.
Spoiler
And
alert.
right, five people. Can you imagine you being the first one out on Edge of Extinction and you have to go and find bamboo? Like, do all of that. I mean, like I said, you have a full day. I don't know what else you're gonna do. Me, if it were me, I would at least start gathering the materials so that way if someone else came out there, we could start on it. But I mean,
Well,
that's
for the
just
record, fire would be the most important thing. I'm just going to throw that out there. Um, but they may have them sectioned off to where there are not good, like, bamboo supplies and stuff.
that's
You
true.
just never know. We go to the reward challenge. Manu, the Blue Tribe, for everyone who's kind of watching, and me and Jody on here, we are great Survivor fans. We are probably not pristine experts at it, but we are fans that give you our take on things. Manu won the challenge. They chose chickens over comfort. They get back. Immediately it becomes down to well, do you want to eat the chickens or not? And then, of course, Wendy, being Wendy, is like, no, don't kill the chickens. And she probably literally said it just like that.
I just can't with Wendy. I can't. Literally, I don't know. Maybe this is just the fitness person side of me, but I'm like, you need protein. Like to survive, you've got to have some source of protein. And what? She was a vegan before, like, she was literally eating meat at home. This is not anything. She just is, I think she just doesn't want to see the chicken being killed. So get over it. Like, you don't even have to be there when they do it. But, like, you've got to have food. Like, I can't imagine going that many days and only eating rice and coconuts. Like, that's not okay for me. I would get so hangry. And so she's acting a little crazy, a little psycho, still the flint. I just, if I found out she did that, I just could not. I'd go off, Andy. I would go off.
Well, there's probably several schools of thought here, and I'm gonna lay one down that I saw on Twitter. So this is not an original thought by me by any means. I'm just gonna throw it out there. There is the premise that Wendy is trying to save the chickens to get the Sia money because Sia gave Ty money that one time. I think that's dumb if that's why, but it's whatever. He claimed that the chickens are already killed or something, and I'm like, how they get killed, and like some of our tribe were like, well, these chickens here have better lives than the ones that you eat at home. So it's whatever. I mean, I don't know her exact reasoning if she's trying to be like get animal activist money or whatever, but that was a thought thrown out there. It's kind of ridiculous. I think she's in the wrong. Do you have any comments on her before we move on?
I don't even want to comment. My comments would not be very constructive nor very nice because it's just, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand how you would literally throw away your shot of $1 million over a couple of chickens or over food. So don't be crazy. I don't care deep down if you were just like, man, this sucks. I really don't want to see these chickens hurt. Go somewhere, walk to the water hole and get water while they're doing it. Like, or don't eat it. Like, don't eat it. You're not the only person in the game.
I can't remember. Golly, it'd be back, and I'd have to really look into it. Sorry, everyone who's like, God, this guy's dumb. I don't remember if Kimmy was on season 1 or 2. I know she came back to Second Chance, but she was either on season 1 or 2, and she had the same issue. And this has always been a thing on Survivor, to where usually someone doesn't want to kill the chickens. But I've got to move us forward now. Kama, the Yellow Tribe, who we have rarely seen, don't know much about because they keep winning. Aubrey finds a immunity idol. She has a great moment. They show from her other seasons her searching and not finding it. She breaks down and cries. Survivor's trying to swerve us a little because it's almost like they're trying to build her story and give us a winner edit, but it's way too early. And because she said the only things I have left, like a few things to do on my bucket list, and it's win and find an immunity idol. So she did one of them. Mm-hmm. I know Jody is not the biggest Aubrey fan, but the tears probably brought out the emotions, so we'll hear her response.
Yeah, I did. I was happy for her. I really, like, if you've played before and you've never found an idol, like, I know that is such a huge thing, especially now that, I don't know, like, I feel like this season they're bringing up, like, women never find idols and da-da-da-da-da. And so I feel like to her that means a lot. So I did feel for her. And I mean, just by that, I was rooting for her. Like, I wanted her to find something, at least a clue. So,
well, see, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. It's all about perspective. And last season we got the whole women's power thing in motion and all that. If a woman played like Angelina, or if a man played like Angelina, they'd have won the game. But
Mm-hmm.
because she was a woman, it's not. Now on the other side, they're like David is hell bent on Kelly having an idol, and I know I'm an episode ahead now, but he's hell bent on that, and everyone's like, "Well, Kelly always finds idols and this and that," and Lauren already found an idol, so I'm like, at some point,
Right. No,
everyone's
Andy, I'm
everyone.
with you.
I'm just like, I know what they're trying to sell, but I'm just everyone's everyone. Well, we get to we get one other crucial scene here, which ends up not being crucial due to episode 4. They're on the beach. It is Victoria and I think Eric. It might have been. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Eric. And they're talking, and it's like, "How do you feel?" And it's like, "Well, we got to get Joe and Aubrey out. They're the returning players working together." And then literally the camera pans back, like not even far. Like the camera barely pans back. And there's Joe sitting 3 feet behind her in the water. And
Right.
I'm like, damn. And he's like, "Well, what are your thoughts, guys?"
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. You just got to be smarter than that. It's Survivor. You're supposed to have those conversations, but you've got to be smarter. You've got to look around you.
So that did occur. Then we go to the immunity challenge. And lucky us, guess who loses? Mono loses their 3rd straight immunity challenge. And as soon as they get back, Wendy, who was on a hurt ankle, seemed to be swimming pretty well. Even Jeff commented on it. They have a big lead in the challenge. It falls apart at the puzzle, like really bad. I shouldn't say big lead. They had a nice lead going to the puzzle. Then it just falls completely apart. They didn't even have step 1 of a 3-step puzzle together. So it is what it is. But Wendy, when they get back, runs, hides the flint, like you already said. And then it comes to David and Rick talk, and they're like, "Hey, it's time to get out Kelly." And then they bring Chris in, and Chris is like, "Yeah, but I think we should tell War Dog." And they're like, "Do not tell War Dog." Chris, literally, first thing he probably does, I'm sure it was a few hours in between. But he's like, "I can't betray War Dog's trust." So he goes and tells War Dog, and then War Dog literally does a confessional saying, "I trust Kelly more than Chris. So maybe it's not Wendy or Kelly going home. Maybe it's Chris going home."
Mm-hmm.
And bada bing, bada bang.
There goes Chris.
Kelly and the War Dog get to Rick, and Rick's like, "I don't know what to do." And he goes with them. I think Wendy and David. No, David, I think, even voted for Chris because he was like, "I don't want to get caught with my hand in the jar." But Chris goes home, and now I'll turn it over to your analysis on that whole big spill I just did.
I don't know. I mean, I'll kind of ask you a question. I mean, do you think they're valid in their thoughts of sending Kelly home?
Here's my thing on Kelly, and I really feel like this about Survivor in general. I'm not going to show my face so no one can say what I'm really looking like. I feel like some people who have never won the game are like threats to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were really threats, they would have won at some point because you're seeing them as a threat and they're never going to win. So it's like, are they really a threat?
Right.
Like, at some point you're going to vote this person out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they can hide like some of the other people can.
And Wendy went back and told her other tribe, all about kind of the rundown of everybody. And
You're jumping a little far ahead.
I know, but this is about Kelly. And so basically she was telling everyone how Kelly was basically the ringleader and she was calling all the shots. Well, I don't necessarily see it like that. And she was telling everybody how much of a bully she is and blah blah blah. I don't see it like that. I think she knows how to play the game. So, and I don't think she's a very emotional person. I mean, I think she even said that she's not that of an emotional person. So, like, things to her are different than other people, and she doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve. And so, like, I don't know. I don't see her as a bully, for one, and I don't see her as the ringleader, for two. I just think she knows how to play the game because she's done it before. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, jumped too far ahead.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I will tell what Jody was talking about when we get to the end of episode 4 a little bit, because there is something there that needs to be discussed. But I'm going to say Chris walked up to the sign after getting voted out or blindsided, which he did the one thing they asked him not to do. Chris walks up and says, "Screw these guys, I'm going to the boat." Didn't get a cliffhanger. We knew he was going. Episode 4 starts. I think Chris arrives at the edge of Extinction Island, because the show is Survivor Edge of Extinction. This is what the season is, so I don't think the island's called Edge of Extinction Island. But he arrives. Reem and Keith have no love for him. They like, "You're in our world now," or whatever.
Yeah, they're automatically being hateful.
Yep, and that's pretty much that at the beginning. Then we get to go to. Do you have anything on Keith's fun or on Keith and Reem when Chris arrived, or do you want to not move on? Not interesting.
I mean, I get it. They're bitter about, him being involved and them being voted out. But, I mean, again, it's the game. They've got to realize that, and they can't hold that against him. And so I think kind of like what we were talking about earlier is like he started catching the fish and yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden they're buddy buddy with him. So,
Yeah, and that's where it's just like dumb. I mean, later in the episode, like Jody said, he gets his. I'm sure this was spliced together, but he does his motivational talk of all my fear being realized out here, failure, blah blah blah, inadequacy. I think something like that. And he's like, "I'm gonna go out," and then he catches 2 fish, and they're like, "Oh, we like Chris today better than yesterday," and I'm like, "Get over it." But
right.
That's pretty much the edge or Extinction Island, whatever we're going to call it. That's pretty much it. Then we get the fun. Looks like they're heading to a reward challenge. They get on their mats. Jeff says, "Drop your buffs." And they're like, "Oh, no." And it's like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And it's like, "We're going to 3 tribes." And never in Survivor has it happened like this. And I'm going to read through the list real quick, so I'm going to look down. First off, Kama. Once we do the 3 tribe expansion, it's Joe, Julia, Julie, Aurora, and Ron, who were all 5 on Kama. They were 5 of 9. Then Manu, the blue tribe, which had been losing. Gavin, Aubrey, Eric, and Victoria go, and they join Wendy. So there's 4 Kama. That's all of them now in Wendy. So now Wendy's the only person with different people, because then we get the green tribe, which is less you, and David found that funny, because it's Kelly, Lauren, David, War Dog, and Rick. And so basically Wendy was the only person with new people. It was just the amount of people that they were with is what had changed.
Right.
My initial response, and I mean right off the bat, when I saw this, I said, Aubrey is screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, no one likes her on her own tribe, or they want to get her out anyway. They may like her, but and I was like, when I looked at it, I said, that is the least athletic looking of the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
From my perspective, which proved to be wrong. Wendy said she felt good because she thought they looked athletic. I was like, me and you ain't looking at the same picture. But that was that. So they go about their business, but we'll let Jody talk about her thoughts on the 3 tribes.
I think it needed to happen. Um, Obviously for Manu, right? I mean, their problem was solved because Wendy switched over. They were already mad at her about the whole chicken situation. So, they were already getting annoyed with her. So, I mean, it needed to happen, but as we kind of get further along in the episode, we see that it's not necessarily going to work out for some tribes because they're all in alliance. So, we'll get there though.
Well, okay, so the Green Tribe now with 5 people has to build a new tribe. A new. They just are sent to a new beach, so they have to build their whole camp.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren comes up. She's like saying she's feeling nauseous and throwing up and can't eat. Um, then
Yeah, which don't they have medics? She needs to get checked out.
they probably checked her out, and we just didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. Um, then we switch over to Kama, and it's like, oh wow, the Yellow Tribe, they're gonna show something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ron distracts Joe at the water well talking about voting out people or whatever, coming together. And he tells Julia to go through Joe's bag. She does. Can't find an immunity idol or anything relating to it. Tells Ron. Ron's like, well, if we lose, we know we can get rid of Joe. So what do you feel about people going through people's stuff, Jody?
Uh-oh. Hold on a minute.
The blue dot is a picture of Jody.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. What? Oh, here we go. Obviously it's been done before, and I think on the earlier episode we saw that Lauren did find an immunity idol and she buried it in the sand, basically, like in a spot. And at first I was like, that is so stupid. Like, why are you doing that? Because it rains all the time. Like, if you're gonna bury something, you better bury it deep. And I just didn't feel like she buried it that deep. Like, I was just like, oh gosh, here we go. But as the season has kind of progressed, like, we see that a lot of people are going through a lot of people's stuff. And kind of like you said, like, they can't take the idol, but at the same time, they can see that someone has one. And so, I mean, in previous seasons, I don't think we've seen that a whole lot. Like, we've seen it, but I feel like every episode, someone's going through someone's stuff. So, I don't know. I don't think it's right. I would never do it, but.
Which, then I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so Lauren buries an idol. She
Mm-hmm.
thinks they're going to a reward challenge. She ends up on a different beach.
Right.
Do you believe that the producers either got the idol and gave it to her, or that they told her, hey, you know, go get your idol and put it in your bag? Or is it just there for gone?
I mean, how would she have had time to go back and get it? Like, and then if she did, I mean, she's kind of putting a target on her back, saying like, oh, well, she's going back to get something, like, I don't know. I feel like she's kind of screwed there. I don't feel like she's gone back to get it.
I feel like she has it somehow. I just don't know how.
Hmm.
I feel like the producers may have gave it to her, put it in her bag. You never know.
Maybe so.
Okay, well, then Wendy shows her tribe around. She's very specific, and I didn't want to say anything earlier when Jody was talking.
Sorry.
She's very specific on where they are, where they can catch fish, and there's a lot of fish. Mm-hmm. She shows them where everything's at.
She's trying to be the big on campus.
Well, when they get back, they're like, well, blah, 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 we might kill the chickens. And she's like, well, they're going to lay eggs at some point. You know, she's trying to get them to keep from killing the chickens, and that there's plenty of fish is what she's trying to do. And then eventually she's like, okay, they're actually going to kill the chickens too. So in the middle of the night, she takes them all out of the little net cage and lets them free. And then I want them to catch one of the chickens and kill it just because, but who knows what'll happen. Any thoughts on Wendy in that?
Well, to me, it's surprising that she thinks that They don't know it's her. Like all of these things, like whenever she hid the flint, they figured it out that it was her. And then now she's taking the chickens out and she's making it look like they just got out in the middle of the night. No, honey. No, they know it's you. And so I don't get that. I really don't get that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we go to a reward challenge. Actually, a immunity challenge, my bad. And guess what? Manu, the blue tribe, gets second, so it's their first not going to tribal, even though Wendy's the only one on there who's been to tribal. And Kama, the yellow tribe, once again wins. So 5 people that have been to every tribal are going back to tribal. Now, I'll let you take over because you were going to say something about it. So it's your turn.
Yeah, it sucks for them because they have all voted together. They genuinely like each other. They have a special bond. I think whenever you go on and you consistently lose, I don't know. As a tribe, it looks like they're closer just because they have to rely on each other a lot more than the winning tribes. And so they really have this bond. They're really like not wanting to vote anybody out because they all want to be together. And so, I don't know, it was an emotional tribal council and then it's a sucky one because they know that someone has to go home.
So why Rick over Lauren, which seemed to be the 2 options?
I think they were just looking further down the line, which I think was a smart move. I really do. Yeah, Lauren's not feeling the best right now. But Rick in the long run is going to be more of a threat than Lauren, I think. They think. I think they think that. I don't necessarily see it like that, but I think they think that. So,
Well, I just want to say that I think I agree with your thought on that, and that's true. The episode ended. I'm just kind of like, I'm over it at this point. And then, like, okay, well, let's see what the little next episode's going to be. And to find out, here we go. It's, they show Aubrey being approached and saying, "Me and Wendy get out, Eric." So if Manu goes back to tribal, and it'll be 4 people's first time at tribal. This one thing I'm gonna say is gonna help Joe for a while, and probably Julia, Julie, Aurora, and Ron. They may never go to a tribal council.
right. They're strong.
At all.
Yeah. They're
well,
strong.
then, yeah, and so they may never go to a tribal council. Sad thing, but if they end up going and Eric goes, I'm glad Aubrey may have a hope, but we'll see. It could be a swerve. Uh, if Leslie loses again, they need to all just say, "Hey, send us there." But we didn't really see any good immunity challenge footage or anything like that. What we did see on the preview that I am actually, you got me, CBS figured out how to keep me coming back in. They showed some kind of mad scramble at the edge of Extinction Island or whatever the hell it's called. They showed a mad dash, so I don't know if there's like whoever gets to the top of the hill first and second stays, or whoever gets there first stays, the other 3 are out. But they got to do something with the island and those people at some point. So we might finally get some little insight into it.
Yeah, I was a little confused because at first I was like, how are they going to weed these people out? And I was thinking that they were going to have their own set of challenges, like their own like immunity challenges, if you will. So that's what I was thinking was going to happen. And then eventually one person is going to be the winner of that island and they're going to join back in the, the regular tribe. I don't know. Like, but they've got to do something.
And I think they're putting them in a bad situation, but if that's the case, and that might be the case, hell, it probably has to be the case. There's no difference between that and Redemption Island except for the location.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So,
okay, do you have any? Nope, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was done.
Do you have any final thoughts on episode 3 and 4? The game.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. It's going a little slow right now. I need something like to blow my mind. So, yeah, but I feel like it's interesting. Wendy's making it interesting for me, and she's making my blood boil. So that keeps me coming. That keeps me watching.
By the way, for some reason the thing is switching over without me doing anything, so I don't know what's going on right now. But I will say, Jody is rooting for Big Wendy, as we found out in episode 4. It took us 4 episodes to find out she's Big Wendy because of her necklace, which I'm sure she was wearing episode 1, 2, and 3. Someone please tell me, because I'm sure I just didn't see it, and I'm not going to go back. But I saw it, and they're like, it's Big Wendy, and I'm like, give me a break.
Yeah, I don't know. She's annoying me. I just can't. I can't with her.
Jody, we all know you're rooting for Big Wendy. It's okay.
I'll root for her to go home.
Well, now there's one thing I guess I did skip over. Jeez, how do I forget this?
Uh-oh.
And this will be the final thoughts. Okay, you were touching on Kelly in charge or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Honestly, Survivor's doing a decent job. I can't figure out if it's Kelly who is steering the vote or if it's War Dog who is steering the vote. Or who is steering the boat, I mean.
I think it's War Dog.
So.
And here's my other thought on that. Man, I don't know if this is just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But it looks like War Dog is making it look like it's her, like her decision. Is that stupid of me? Like,
no, I'm just waiting for the camera to switch over so it had my face with some silly look on it.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I think he's a strong, already like a strategic player, and I think that they're obviously together. They're obviously like in an alliance, but I think he's so good that he's making everybody think that it's her calling the shots, because she's kind of an outspoken person about like, we need to do it this way, or this is how we need to do things, because I've played before and da 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 da. So I think he's like kind of pinning it on her to where it looks like she's leading the pack, but in reality it's really him. What?
Okay, well, we're going to end on that. Jody, final words on Survivor. Hopefully, I'm going to be honest, both of us have busy schedules and lives we have to live.
I know.
So this may be a bi-weekly thing, or maybe we'll get on and do it a week. It's partially my fault sometimes.
No,
I'm not ready, or I don't say anything, but who knows? So you'll just have to tune in, and I'll put it out on my Snapchat on what's happening.
Yeah, we'll definitely shoot for next week, but if it doesn't happen, we'll see you the following.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.